So this next demonstration will demonstrate NStalker, which is a web application vulnerability assessment tool. So take a look at the existing website and download it if need be. And we're going to go ahead and actually launch NStalker so we can get started. Now, before we just do that, just a very brief overview of the free edition. As you can see, what you get with regards to its checks with the free edition, 18,000 signatures. So you can hold a restricted set of security checks and will inspect up to 100 pages within the target application, including those 18,000 signatures, web server security check, backup security check, cross-site scripting, and then ready to go usability. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to actually use this tool. So I'm launching my NStalker. After installing it, it will always double check, unless you configure it otherwise, if there's any new updates. So I'll say yes, go ahead and get the updates for me. And we'll give it a few minutes. And so once it's updated, you can see it's a pretty intuitive interface. You can go through to the policy editor, global options, report manager, macro recorder. It's got a built-in web proxy, an HTTP brute forcer. So you would just go along and stipulate your user list and pass list files. And it's also got web discover, the encoder tool, and the CEHv6. So remember, the CEHv6 is the Google hacking database. Now you can see that this is a pretty cool tool for the fact that it's free. So you can do your load tester as well, start sending amounts of data to that target system. I'm going to go back to the actual policy editor because you can go along and stipulate what types of specific tests to actually run. So no real rocket science here, folks. At this point, just to give you a quick example, yes, I'm going to close that policy editor. The way you do that is you go along to the icon that says has not been properly saved. Do you want to commit your changes? Yeah, you can say yes or no. Now we're at the main screen. So basically we can start the scan from this point if we wanted to. And we'll just pick on Secure IA because we don't want to cause any problems for anyone else. And you can go along and do the cross-site scripting only, or the CEHv6 only, hidden directories, web server security, or the web server security with cross-site scripting. So if we select the actual web server security plus the cross-site scripting, we will start the scan. You can also choose to enter the other features such as the load scan session. You can also load spider data. So if you've just gone along and spidered the site like we did previously in the previous demos, you could literally go along and just add that, which makes it a more efficient scan. And once you go along, you can't get to these settings until you select next. And then as you can see, it's just going through the different optimization, review settings, so forth. So we'll select next. We're not actually going to use any authorization there, by the way, folks. So you can go along to each tab, configure that if there's any specific settings. So if you have a username or password where you want to test any kind of authentication modules. There's also the false positives. There's the engine. So this is your actual supported server-side technologies. And then also miscellaneous. It's a pretty powerful and complex tool. Again, for free, well, we can't complain too much. So we'll pause it at this point and then we will get started with the scan. So we'll leave this running basically, and we will be back within a few minutes once we finished running the scan. You've got to make sure you actually go along and choose to start the scan. So as it brings up some of the results, rather than just play it and not talk too much, I'll just keep pausing. You can see it's going through running the different scan modules. So it's running the spider module first, and it's already starting to identify the structure. As such, there's some hidden fields there, and there's some comments, and what are the scripts, and when it actually finds the email addresses at the same time. So once the actual scan is finished, you can then go along to the actual report manager, which is what I've done. And you can see the Report Manager Session Information Dashboard. Pretty straightforward, folks. This is pretty much giving us the results of what it came back with. And at this point, we could simply right-click and choose Technical Report, generate the RTF or PDF. So we'll select to generate the PDF. You will choose the different options of information you want in your actual report. So if you want to show a lot of the hidden fields or web forms, and then the other specific report options, so you could change the actual graphic. I believe in the free version you cannot. Yep. And you can then select vulnerabilities. You want to show all of them. And then the PDF options, we're not going to choose to encrypt it. We'll choose generate, save it to the desktop. And then we can then open it up. So this was not even a full completed test. I stopped it in between, as we didn't have to wait for it to go all the way, but you can see it's very, very detailed. So not bad for a free tool, folks. Nice graphs, pictures, and you can see how the actual report results have been articulated as well. Pretty impressive. So definitely go and check out Nstalker. It's not a rocket science type of tool to use, and therefore I wouldn't spend too much time on that with regards to learning about web insecurities. We're going to be doing a whole lot more of the hands-on using some of the newer types of Unix, Linux types of tools.